Today is primary election day in South Carolina, and huge amounts of voters are expected to head to the polls today.
It follows a record-breaking early voting turnout in the state. Polls are open until 7 o'clock tonight. Voters in South Carolina are required to show a valid photo ID before they cast their ballot and must vote at their assigned polling place. Now, if you used an absentee ballot to vote, it must be received by 7 p.m. tonight to be counted. You can find all of the important voting information on our website, wsav.com/electionhq.
And state election officials say more than 300,000 voters hit the polls in South Carolina before today's primary election.
WSAV's Jillian Coles has more now on what this looks like for counties across the Lowcountry.
According to election officials, about 10% of voters turned out during the early voting period in Beaufort County. I'm told this is much higher than previous years. According to Jean Felix, director of the Beaufort County Board of Voter Registration and Elections, more than 14,000 votes were in before Election Day for the county. She says that's 12,000 more than the 2024 early voting season. Jasper County saw just over 2,500 votes this year, and Charleston County tracked more than 26,000. Felix says she believes big contests like the race for governor and the fight for 1st Congressional District are bringing voters to the polls.
My personal opinion is it's because of the number of candidates that are on the ballot. There are a lot of candidates, a lot of choices, and I think that truthfully is driving the voter turnout.
Election officials say the unexpected surge in early voting makes it difficult to predict how many South Carolinians will turn out to vote today. Reporting in Beaufort County, Jillian Coles, WSAV News 3 on your side.
And some important voting information that voters in Beaufort need to know. Now, more than a dozen polling locations in the county are actually different this election style. If you happen to head to the polls today, officials say one of the biggest issues may not be long lines, but confusion over those polling locations.
Make sure that they know where they are going. And the reason for that is because we've had 11 location changes just for this election that are going to be temporary locations. And then we've added, since the 2024 elections, 4 new locations.
Now, those new polling sites include Barnwell, New Riverside, Battery Creek High School, Garden Oaks Apartment Complex, and Water's Edge at Pepper Hall. According to election officials, many of those temporary changes stem from facility renovations, scheduled programs, or building availability issues that commonly affect those June elections. Of course, if you do have plans to vote tonight and want to double check that polling location, you can find a link to South Carolina's voter registration page on our website.
The race for U.S. District 1 seat in South Carolina is a crowded field.
Well, 8 different candidates running for the Democratic nomination, including Mac DeFord. WSV's Isabella Baez caught up with a candidate right before tonight's watch party. Joins us now live in Mount Pleasant. Isabella?
Well, Andrew, Democratic candidate Mac DeFord is getting ready for his watch party here at Hob Cobb Brewing as he tries for the second time to get a chance to have a seat in Washington. DeFord might be a familiar name for some. He made a run in 2024 but came short of just a couple hundred votes. However, today, as he takes another chance, he says he is feeling more confident than ever, saying he wants to be a voice right for the people who live and work right here in District 1.
I've been doing the work here in this district for 16 years. I'm not somebody who just moved here and decided to run for Congress. You know, I served in the Coast Guard here. I've worked in local
I never got a
government
queue.
On both ends of the district, in Mount Pleasant down to Hilton Head. You know, housing, for example, is the #1 cost of living issue in this district, and I've actually brought affordable housing to this district. There's a project being built right now down on Hilton Head Island that I helped lead.
DeFord say he's running to make sure District 1 has the representation he feels they're not getting from their current representative. And his watch party is set to begin in just a couple hours. And you can hear more on that at WSAV News 3 at 5 and 6. Reporting live in Mount Pleasant, I'm Isabella Baez, WSAV News 3 on your side.
Isabella, thank you. One of DeFort's biggest challenges comes from Bluffton. That is where Mayra Rivera Vasquez is hoping to become the first congressional Latina nominee and congressional leader in the state. A former head of the Beaufort County Democratic Party, Rivera Vasquez, says her campaign has been focused on many of the new voters, people who have never stepped into the ballot booth. And she says she has been pleased with early turnout by Democrats in the Palmetto State.
Message has been always working, building a new American dream that works for the working families, trying to lower the cost of living. And as a mom, as a veteran's wife, and a regular everyday person, so people are looking for that, looking for fighters, looking for people more authentic, that really understand the struggle of the people and are not afraid to fight.
Rivera Vasquez believes she can get groundswell of support from local Hispanic community and those new voters to help her move forward into a runoff.
And the apparent frontrunner among 11 different candidates in the Republican congressional race is Mark Smith. The state senator believes he has the experience to move to the next level and is the right man to become District 1's next congressman. WSV's Nakaya Harris is live on Daniel Island, where Mark Smith's watch party will be held tonight. Nakaya?
Yeah, that's right. Mark Smith is a small business owner, former city council member for Mount Pleasant, and is currently a state lawmaker. All roles, he says, give him the experience to represent the Lowcountry in Congress. And like you said, he is one of the 11 candidates vying for this open seat, hoping to advance past tonight's Republican primary. Smith says his experiences in business and government have helped him connect with voters across the Lowcountry and shaped his focus on issues like taxes, regulation, and economic growth. He also says he supports law enforcement, stricter immigration policy, and President Trump's agenda. Now he's looking to take that experience to Washington, saying he's prepared to bring change to Congress while focusing on South Carolina's 1st District.
Be the results that I've achieved in the State House, not promises that I'm making on the campaign trail, but take a good look at my voting record over the past 6 years in the State House. And those relationships that I built along the way will go a long way in helping understand what the issues are impacting each of the local communities, so that we can continue to go together to move South Carolina forward and the needle forward in every area, including infrastructure, affordability, education, and safety as well.
Now coming up, we'll take a closer look at Mark's plan for infrastructure and affordability. Nakaya Harris, WSAV News 3 on your side.
Nakaya, thanks so much. Now remember, you can find that full list of candidates running on our website, WSAV.com.
If a candidate for any race does not get over 50% of the vote, they will go for a runoff. That election will be held June 23rd. Stay with WSAV all evening. We'll continue to follow Election Day in South Carolina. We are taking a close look at the candidates on today's ballots, and we have election results. They will come up tonight as those polls begin to close.
And don't forget that early voting continues through Friday for Georgia's primary runoff as well. On the Republican side of the governor's ballot, healthcare executive Rick Jackson running against incumbent Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. In the primary, Jones got about 38% of the vote, Jackson about 34%. And in the U.S. Senate race for the Republican nomination, current Congressman Mike Collins facing former Tennessee football head coach Derek Dooley. In the primary, Collins got 41% of the vote, Dooley about 30%. Now, in the 1st Congressional District Democratic runoff, Joyce Griggs is facing Amanda Hollowell. Now, that district, of course, covers much of the coastal empire, including Chatham, Bryan, Effingham, Liberty, Long, and McIntosh counties. Now, Griggs got about 34% in the primary, while Holloway got about 25%. They move on to face Jim Kingston in November. To find out more information about our local elections, again, we've got everything you need to know, WSAV.com/electionhq.